First contact and fall. The message arrived on a quiet Tuesday morning at the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico. Dr. Rashid Kumar's coffee had just cooled to the perfect temperature when the distinctive pattern appeared on his monitor. A series of prime numbers, followed by what could only be described as an artificial signal. "This can't be right," he muttered, adjusting his wire-rimmed glasses. The signal was too perfect, too structured. After 20 years of searching the skies for signs of intelligent life, Rashid knew the difference between cosmic background radiation and intentional communication. Within hours, observatories worldwide confirmed the signal's authenticity. The source was approaching Earth at an impossible speed, decelerating as it neared our solar system. Humanity held its collective breath as the United Nations hastily assembled an international first contact team. Commander Jasmine Torres stood at attention before the UN Security Council, her decorated military career making her the natural choice to lead Earth's delegation. "We've prepared a grading site in the Atacama Desert," she reported. "Clear sight lines, minimal civilian population, maximum security." The world watched through countless screens as the visitors arrived. They descended from the clouds like falling stars, crystalline structures that caught and reflected sunlight in mesmerizing patterns. The largest was roughly the size of a small office building, its surface faceted like a diamond but with an inner light that pulsed with alien intelligence. Dr. Kumar was present for first contact, his expertise in xenolinguistics deemed essential. He worked alongside linguist Dr. Yuki Tanaka, their combined efforts establishing basic communication with the entities that called themselves the Wraith. The first warning signs were subtle. Hospital backup generators failed during routine tests. Power plants reported unexpected fluctuations. The Wraith's crystalline bodies seemed to shimmer more brightly with each passing day. Commander Torres noticed it first, the correlation between the visitors' luminescence and the power failures. But by then, it was too late. The Wraith had positioned themselves near major power distribution centers worldwide. The global blackout began at sunset in Tokyo. Like a wave of darkness, it swept westward across the globe. Power grids didn't just fail. They were drained, the energy absorbed directly by the Wraith, who multiplied with each feeding. Panic erupted in major cities. Dr. Kumar watched helplessly from the observatory as civilization began to crumble. Without electricity, water systems failed. Communication networks went dark. Transportation ground to a halt. "They're not here to make contact," Commander Torres realized, watching the Wraith multiply above New York City. "They're harvesting us." The military response was swift but ineffective. Conventional weapons passed through the crystalline beings as if they were made of light. Nuclear options were deemed too risky. No one knew how the Wraith would react to that level of energy. Humanity faced an enemy that turned their greatest achievements against them. Every power source they accessed made them stronger, more numerous. Cities were abandoned as people fled to rural areas, away from the concentrations of electrical infrastructure that attracted the Wraith. Dr. Tanaka discovered that the Wraith's original message wasn't a greeting. It was a dinner bell, broadcasting Earth's power signatures to others of their kind. More arrived each day, drawn by the promise of an energy-rich world. As civilization teetered on the brink, Commander Torres gathered a group of survivors at a remote military bunker. "We're not beaten," she declared, her voice firm in the emergency-lit chamber. "We're humanity. We've survived ice ages, plagues, and our own worst impulses. We'll survive this too." Dr. Kumar nodded grimly, already working on decoding more of the Wraith's communications. In the darkness of a powerless world, humanity would need to find new strengths, new ways to fight back. The war for Earth's energy and humanity's survival had only just begun. Underground hope. 6 months after the fall, humanity learned to fear the light. The Wraith dominated the surface world, their crystalline forms casting prismatic shadows across abandoned cities. But beneath the earth, hope survived. The Svalbard facility, originally designed to preserve the world's seed vault, had become humanity's largest underground refuge. Its massive geothermal power plant, shielded deep within the Arctic rock, provided energy that somehow remained hidden from the Wraith's insatiable hunger. Dr. Indira Patel wiped condensation from her tablet screen as she recorded another failed experiment. As the facility's lead physicist, she'd spent months studying captured Wraith fragments, searching for any weakness in their crystalline structure. "You need to see this," her research partner, Dr. Thomas Nielsen, called from across the lab. He adjusted the frequency on their sonic resonator, a device originally designed for studying deep Earth seismic activity. The Wraith shard in the containment chamber vibrated, then emitted a high-pitched whine. "Increase amplitude," Indira ordered, her dark eyes fixed on the readings. At 172.5 Hz, the crystal fragment shattered into dust. The discovery spread through the underground network like wildfire. Commander Torres, coordinating resistance efforts from a repurposed missile silo in Montana, immediately recognized its potential. "We need weapons based on this frequency," she ordered through the secure quantum communication network, one of the few technologies still functioning thanks to its minimal power requirements. But developing sonic weapons presented its own challenges. Dr. Kumar, who had joined the Stalbard team, pointed out the obvious problem. Any power source strong enough to generate these frequencies will attract them. "We'll be overrun before we can deploy the weapons." The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Angela Chen, a former concert cellist who had taken refuge in Svalbard, noticed something peculiar during her weekly performances for the children. "The Wraith fragments respond differently to certain musical harmonics," she reported to Indira. "It's like they're dancing." Working together, Indira and Angela discovered that combining specific harmonics could amplify the destructive frequency while using minimal power. They called it resonance cascading, each wave building on the last until the crystal structure couldn't maintain cohesion. Meanwhile, scattered resistance cells reported another discovery. The Wraith couldn't detect mechanical energy. Hand-cranked generators, water wheels, and other primitive power sources went unnoticed. Humanity began rebuilding its technology base from the ground up, focusing on mechanisms that wouldn't attract attention. Commander Torres established a network of underground manufacturing facilities, each producing components for what would become humanity's counteroffensive. Ancient techniques were combined with modern innovation. Bicycle-powered lathes crafted precision parts, while water wheels drove assembly lines. Dr. Tanaka's ongoing translation work revealed another crucial detail. The Wraith weren't just feeding on Earth's energy. They were preparing to reproduce. Their crystalline structures would eventually split, creating new entities that would need even more power. "We have months at most," she warned during an emergency council meeting. "Once they begin dividing, Earth's remaining resources won't sustain us all." The Resistance's first major victory came in Iceland. Using the island's natural geothermal features to mask their power signature, they tested a prototype sonic cannon. The weapon shattered a cluster of Wraith, proving that humanity could fight back. But the victory came at a cost. The Wraith responded to the attack by intensifying their harvest, draining power from sources they previously ignored. Entire regions went dark as even emergency systems failed. In Svalbard, Indira worked tirelessly to improve the weapon's efficiency. "We need something bigger," she explained to Commander Torres. "Something that can affect them all simultaneously." She pointed to her calculations. "If we can use Earth itself as a resonance chamber." The idea was audacious, perhaps impossible. But as reports arrived of more communities going dark, of more people fleeing to the overcrowded underground facilities, impossible seemed their only option. Commander Torres studied the proposal. "How long to implement?" 3 months to test the theory," Indira replied. "Maybe 6 to build the network, if we can get the components manufactured in time. The Wraith will reproduce before then. Then we work faster." Indira's voice carried the determination that had become humanity's hallmark since the fall. "We adapt, we survive, we fight back. It's what we do." In the artificial light of the underground facility, humanity's greatest minds gathered to plan their species' survival. Above them, the Wraith continued their harvest, unaware that their prey was about to become predator. Angular shadows danced across empty streets as the crystalline invaders multiplied, their inner light pulsing with stolen energy. But beneath the earth, another light burned, the unquenchable fire of human resilience, fueled by the discovery that even the most powerful enemy had a weakness. The war for Earth was about to enter its second phase, and humanity finally had hope. The resistance rises. The abandoned subway tunnels beneath London echoed with the rhythmic pounding of mechanical forges. Here, in what had become known as the Thames Forge, resistance engineers worked around the clock, manufacturing components for Operation Resonance, using technology that predated the Industrial Revolution. Lieutenant James Blackwood, former Royal Marines Commando, supervised the loading of another shipment onto hand-powered rail carts. "Careful with those frequency modulators," he warned. Each one took a week to calibrate. His voice, once crisp with military precision, now carried the gravelly edge of someone who'd spent too long underground. The modulators were bound for resistance cells across Europe, part of a growing network of sonic weapon installations. Each was carefully disguised as pre-industrial machinery, watermills, windmills, even old church bells, all modified to generate specific frequencies when activated. In Montana, Commander Torres studied the latest intelligence reports. The Wraith had begun to change, their crystalline structures developing new patterns that Dr. Kumar believed were precursors to reproduction. "We're running out of time," she transmitted to the Global Resistance Network. From Svalbard, Dr. Patel reported progress on the resonance cascade theory. Working with Angela Chen, they discovered that certain geological formations could amplify their sonic weapons naturally. Earth's fault lines, Indira explained during a secure briefing. "They're like giant tuning forks, if we can synchronize our attacks with natural seismic frequencies." The resistance launched its first coordinated offensive in the Alps. Lieutenant Sofia Rossi led a team of European fighters in placing sonic devices along carefully calculated points in the mountain range. The operation required precise timing. Too early, and the Wraith would detect the power signatures. Too late, and the resonance pattern would fail. The attack caught the Wraith by surprise. When activated, the sonic network created a cascading wave of destruction that shattered dozens of the crystalline beings. For the first time, humanity witnessed their enemies fall en masse. But victory came with consequences. The Wraith retaliated by accelerating their harvest, targeting smaller power sources they'd previously ignored. Remote communities that had survived on hidden solar panels and wind turbines suddenly found themselves under attack. In Asia, resistance leader Colonel Jin Wei organized a vast network of bicycle-powered generators, keeping essential communications running as the Wraith stripped away remaining power infrastructure. "We adapt," he transmitted to Commander Torres, "like water flowing around rocks." Dr. Tanaka made another breakthrough in understanding Wraith communication. "They're not just reproducing," she reported. "They're evolving. Each new generation is more efficient at energy extraction." Her analysis suggested the Wraith were developing ways to detect and drain even the smallest power sources. The resistance needed to accelerate their plans. In underground facilities worldwide, teams worked to expand the sonic weapon network. Traditional skills were combined with modern knowledge. Blacksmiths forged components designed by quantum physicists, while farmers' weather wisdom helped predict seismic conditions. Angela Chen's musical expertise proved invaluable in fine-tuning the weapons. "It's like conducting an orchestra," she explained to Dr. Patel. "Each device needs to play its part at exactly the right moment." She developed a notation system that helped resistance cells calibrate their equipment without power-hungry computers. Lieutenant Blackwood's teams began installing devices along the Atlantic Ridge, using submarines powered by human pedaling to reach the deepest points. Every installation was a risk. The Wraith's increasing sensitivity meant they could detect even brief power signatures. In Svalbard, Dr. Patel and her team worked on the final calculations for Operation Resonance. The plan was ambitious. Use Earth's natural geological features to create a planet-wide sonic pulse that would destroy the Wraith simultaneously. But the power requirements were enormous. "We'll only get one chance," Commander Torres told the Resistance Council. "Every hidden generator, every backup battery. We'll have to use everything we've got. And if it fails..." "It won't fail," Dr. Patel interrupted. "The math is solid. The frequencies are perfect. We just need to synchronize over 10,000 devices across 7 continents." The council chamber fell silent as the magnitude of the task sank in. Then Colonel Way spoke. "Throughout history, humanity has accomplished the impossible when we work together. This is no different." As the Resistance prepared for their ultimate gambit, the Wraith continued their relentless harvest. Their numbers had doubled, then tripled, their crystalline forms now dominating Earth's skyline like an alien forest. They remained unaware that beneath their feet, humanity was orchestrating their downfall. In the Thames Forge, Lieutenant Blackwood watched another shipment of components disappear into the tunnel network. Above, the sound of crystalline movement echoed through the ground, a constant reminder of what humanity fought to overcome. But in the determined faces of the Resistance fighters, he saw not fear, but resolve. The stage was set for humanity's greatest test. Operation Resonance would either save Earth or signal the end of human civilization. There would be no second chances. Operation Resonance. The day before Operation Resonance was set to begin, the Resistance network buzzed with activity. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Commander Torres established the Global Coordination Center in an abandoned nuclear bunker. Quantum communication arrays, powered by hundreds of cyclists working in shifts, connected Resistance cells worldwide. "Status report," Torres commanded, her voice carrying across the command center where manually operated plotting boards had replaced digital displays. "European network standing by," Lieutenant Blackwood reported from London. "All sonic installations primed and synchronized." "Asian quadrant ready," Colonel Way confirmed. "Coastal arrays in position." From her post in Svalbard, Dr. Patel monitored the final calibrations. The facility's geothermal plant would provide the initial power surge needed to trigger the cascade. "We've mapped every fault line, every geological formation that could amplify the signal," she explained to her team. "But timing will be critical." The Wraith had begun their reproductive phase, their crystalline forms splitting and multiplying across the planet's surface. Each new generation proved more adept at detecting and draining energy sources. The Resistance's window of opportunity was closing rapidly. Angela Chen worked with regional teams, using her musical expertise to fine-tune the sonic network. "Think of Earth as a giant instrument," she instructed through the quantum network. "Each installation must strike its note at precisely the right moment to create the perfect harmony of destruction." In Antarctica, Dr. Nielsen led a team setting up the southern array. The continent's unique geological structure would play a crucial role in amplifying the sonic pulse. "Ice sheets make excellent conductors for sonic waves," he reported as his team worked in the perpetual darkness of polar winter. The Resistance had one advantage. The Wraith's reproductive phase required them to remain stationary, their crystalline structures anchored to major power sources as they divided. It made them vulnerable, but only if the sonic attack could be coordinated perfectly. Lieutenant Rossi's teams in Europe reported a concerning development. "The Wraith are starting to detect mechanical energy," she transmitted. "They drained a water wheel installation in Bavaria yesterday. Our window is shrinking." Commander Torres made the call. "We launch at dawn, Greenwich Mean Time. All teams prepare for simultaneous activation." The next 12 hours were a blur of activity. Around the world, Resistance fighters took their positions. The plan required split-second timing. Each sonic installation needed to activate in a precise sequence to create the cascading wave that would shatter the Wraith. In Svalbard, Dr. Patel ran final simulations using hand-cranked calculating machines. "If we succeed, The sonic pulse will create a resonance frequency that matches the wraith's crystalline structure perfectly. They'll shatter like glass in an opera singer's wake. But success required sacrifice. Every hidden power source, every carefully hoarded battery would need to be used. Once we begin, Torres warned, there's no stopping. If we fail, we'll have nothing left to fight with. The hours ticked by. In underground bunkers and hidden caves, resistance fighters prepared for humanity's final stand. They knew the risks. If the sonic pulse failed to destroy the wraith, the power surge would reveal every remaining human sanctuary. Angela Chen sat at her station in Svalbard, her fingers hovering over a specially designed mechanical keyboard. The device would help coordinate the sonic pulses, treating Earth's fault lines like the strings of a planet-sized instrument. 1 hour to launch, Torres announced. The message passed through the quantum network, reaching every resistance cell. Final checks began. Each installation reported ready, their mechanical systems wound tight, waiting for the signal. Dr. Kumar, monitoring Wraith communications, reported increased activity. They sense something's coming. Their energy consumption is spiking. 30 minutes. Torres counted down. Around the world, resistance fighters took their positions. Some bowed their heads in prayer. Others stood in grim silence, all knowing humanity's fate hung in the balance. In London's underground forge, Lieutenant Blackwood gathered his team. Whatever happens, he told them, remember, we chose to fight back. We chose to stand. The quantum network hummed with status reports as the final minutes approached. Each resistance cell confirmed their readiness. Each installation reported optimal conditions. The plan that had taken months to prepare was about to unfold. 5 minutes, Torres announced. In Svalbard, Dr. Patel initiated the geothermal plant's power-up sequence. The facility's lights brightened as energy built in its capacitors. Angela Chen closed her eyes, mentally reviewing the sequence she would need to perform. The sonic cascade would follow Earth's natural resonance patterns, building like a symphony to its devastating crescendo. 1 minute, Torres's voice carried the weight of humanity's hopes. All teams stand by for activation. The resistance held its breath. Above them, the Wraith continued their harvest, unaware that their prey had become predator. Humanity's desperate gambit was about to begin. Initiate Operation Resonance. Dawn of a new era. When Operation Resonance began, the world itself seemed to hold its breath. The first sonic pulses, barely audible to human ears, rippled through Earth's crust. In Svalbard, Angela Chen's fingers danced across her mechanical keyboard, conducting a planetary orchestra of destruction. First wave activated, Dr. Patel reported, watching as seismographs recorded the building resonance. Geological amplification at 80% of projected levels. Around the globe, resistance fighters activated their installations in precise sequence. Each sonic pulse built upon the last, creating waves of energy that traveled through Earth's natural fault lines. The planet itself became a weapon, its very structure amplifying the devastating frequencies. The Wraith reacted immediately. Their crystalline forms blazed with stolen energy as they attempted to move away from the sonic disturbance. But their reproductive phase had left them vulnerable, anchored to their power sources. They're trying to adapt, Dr. Kumar warned, interpreting the rapid changes in Wraith communication patterns. Their crystalline structure is shifting to resist the resonance. Commander Torres made an instant decision. Accelerate the sequence. All teams, proceed to maximum output. In London, Lieutenant Blackwood's team pushed their installations beyond designed limits. The ancient subway tunnels amplified the sonic waves, sending them coursing through the city's foundations. Above ground, the first Wraith began to shatter. Colonel Wei reported similar success across Asia, coastal arrays performing beyond expectations. The ocean floor is conducting the frequencies perfectly. But victory came at a terrible price. The power surge required for maximum output revealed many resistance hideouts to the desperate Wraith. In their final moments, the crystalline beings launched a furious assault on exposed human positions. Hold the line, Lieutenant Rossi shouted over the quantum network as her Alpine installations came under attack. The resonance cascade must not be interrupted. In Antarctica, Dr. Nielsen's team fought against both the wraith and the bitter cold as they maintained the southern array. Pulse synchronization at 95%, he reported through chattering teeth. The ice sheets are magnifying the effect beyond our calculations. Angela Chen never faltered in her rhythm, her years of musical training allowing her to coordinate the global sonic network with preternatural precision. Each installation's contribution was timed to the microsecond, creating a devastating harmony that made the Earth itself vibrate at the wraith's resonant frequency. Energy readings are off the scale, Dr. Patel announced. The cascade is approaching critical threshold. Around the world, the wraith began to fail. Their crystalline forms developed cracks, then fissures, then began to disintegrate entirely. The sky filled with a crystalline rain as thousands of the aliens shattered simultaneously. But the wraith didn't fall alone. Power plants exploded as the dying aliens drained them in desperate attempts to survive. Resistance installations burned out from the strain. The quantum network flickered as its bicycle-powered generators failed one by one. "We can't maintain this output level," Dr. Patel warned. "The system is breaking down." Commander Torres's voice cut through the chaos. "We don't need to maintain it. Look up." Through gaps in the underground bunkers, through broken windows and cracked doorways, humanity witnessed the end of their invaders. The wraith, once seemingly invincible, fell from the sky in glittering shards. Their inner light flickered and died as the resonance tore their crystalline structures apart. The sonic cascade continued for hours, sweeping across the planet in waves of destructive harmony. When it finally ended, an unfamiliar silence fell over Earth. For the first time in over a year, the constant hum of wraith energy harvesting was gone. In the aftermath, humanity emerged from their underground sanctuaries to survey their changed world. Cities lay in ruins, power infrastructure was devastated, and the ground glittered with the remains of their alien invaders. "We'll rebuild," Commander Torres declared in her first surface-side transmission in months. "We did it before, we'll do it again. But this time, we'll be ready for whatever comes next." Dr. Patel's team began studying the wraith remains, determined to understand their technology and prepare defenses against future threats. "Their weakness was our strength," she noted. "They never understood that harmony is more powerful than pure energy." In London, Lieutenant Blackwood's forged teams shifted focus from weapons to reconstruction tools. The skills learned in resistance would now serve to rebuild civilization. "We're keeping the manual forges," he decided. "Some old ways are worth preserving." Angela Chen established a new academy, teaching both music and the principles of sonic defense to the next generation. "We must remember," she told her first class, "that our greatest weapon was working in concert." Colonel Wei coordinated the restoration of Asia's power grid, incorporating lessons learned during the resistance. "We build redundancy," he insisted. "Multiple power sources, different technologies. Never again will we be so vulnerable." 1 year after Operation Resonance, humanity had made remarkable progress. Cities hummed again with power, but now protected by sonic barrier networks. The old financial centers housed research facilities dedicated to defending Earth. Underground bunkers became universities, teaching both past wisdom and future technology. Dr. Kumar continued monitoring the stars, but now as part of a global early warning network. "We're not alone out there," he reminded the UN Security Council. "But next time, we'll be prepared." Commander Torres, standing at the window of the newly rebuilt UN headquarters, watched the sunset glint off the Wraith Memorial, a crystalline sculpture that served as both warning and reminder. Humanity had faced extinction and emerged stronger, more united, more resilient. The struggle had changed them, but not broken them. In the end, it wasn't just technology or strategy that had saved humanity. It was their ability to adapt, to cooperate, to find strength in unity. As the stars began to appear in the darkening sky, Torres smiled. Whatever came next, Earth would be ready.